Hi, it's Chef Rick, and today I'm making Peking duck and pancakes. Right, this video all started when my brother-in-law turned up with this for me, this absolutely beautiful free-range duck. He was staying with us, and this was the present that he knew would cheer me up no end, so I've dragged him into this video to help along the way. What we're going to start is making something to go inside the duck whilst it roasts. So we start with a piece of ginger. When you buy ginger, don't be afraid to snap off the piece you need in the supermarket or wherever you get your ginger from. You don't need to buy a ginormous piece. You are allowed to dissect it if you like. Peel it, and then this piece of ginger I'm going to roughly chop. When you're peeling ginger, you just use a normal peeler, as you've seen me do there. So just a rough chop. Star anise. All the quantities, of course, are going to be down in the description below. Some spring onions, which I literally just chop the tip off, just to clean them up. These are only going to be used, like I say, inside the duck whilst it's roasting, so you probably don't need to be as neat as I'm being, but I just found doing it this way keeps it all clean and simple. Put those in with the ginger and the star anise. Some garlic. And the garlic's just going to be top and tailed and just crushed like that, just so it releases all of its flavour. So now the cavity of the duck. This is usually how you'll find your duck in it. I'll have this piece at the end. Just chop that off. Comes off really easy. And discard. And then season the inside. So I'll season the inside with salt and pepper. First of all, you'll want to pat the inside dry. Season it with salt and pepper. I put my pepper kind of into this ramekin before putting it in, just because I didn't want to stick my pepper mill inside the bird. But then, so you'll season it all inside, and add the ginger, spring onion, star anise, and garlic from earlier. Just put that all inside the bird. Now, we're going to take a roasting tray. You might remember this one from the brisket video that was never used. So now I've found a use for it with this Peking duck. So the stuffing's on the inside. You've removed any kind of lining. So there was like a piece of butcher's lining on the bottom of this one. So you remove all that. So it's just a bird. And then cover the outside of the skin in 5-spice, Chinese 5-spice. It goes on really easily. It sticks as well. No need to be too heavy with this. Just make sure that all the skin has got a good coating. But you can be fairly kind of firm with it as you're putting it on. If any bits do fall down into the bottom of the roasting tin, I think that's no problem at all. It's just going to add to the sort of smell and aroma as the fat drips off the bird. This is going to go into the oven now for 3 hours. The first hour is going to be at 160, and the last 2 hours are going to be at 140. So it's going to have a very long roast, but that's a low heat, and that's because we want to get a really nice crispy skin. So to go with that duck, we're going to want a dipping sauce. So you can just use hoisin. I like to sometimes use a bit of real hoisin and a bit of this dipping sauce. The dipping sauce is slightly thinner and less harsh, although I absolutely love the harshness of hoisin. So to make this dipping sauce, we're just going to take garlic. You've seen me chop garlic 100 times on these videos, so I'm just going to speed it up as we go. But you know the technique is to just basically time and patience and just keep working. Just back and forth. The more you chop, the smaller it gets. Just keep bringing it in and keep working together, cleaning down your knife and chopping up the garlic as you go. So that's some very finely chopped garlic. This is going to go in in a sauce, of course, as I said, a dipping sauce, so that's why you wouldn't want ginormous pieces of garlic in there. So in a pan on a medium heat, we'll just add some ground nut oil and in with the garlic. Give that a little stir around. You want this to as we do with some garlic and onions in this, you want it to gain some colour, just a very light bit of colour, soften slightly, have the edge taken off, but we don't want it to burn, obviously. So we'll just monitor the temperature, we'll keep on stirring it. You'll know, as we always say about these videos, you'll know by the smell when it starts to get there. In with some black bean sauce. Some cider vinegar. Some soy sauce. That wasn't cider vinegar, that was Japanese rice wine vinegar, forgive me. And some honey. So yeah, rice vinegar and some runny honey. Give that a stir. That's all the ingredients that are going to go into this sauce now. All we want to do is kind of bring it up to a low boil, so it's just kind of bubbling and all finding itself and cooking away. Once that's been brought to the boil and you've given it a stir around like that, looks absolutely amazing, smells absolutely amazing. You know all of those flavours have combined. Just give it a stir, make sure none of it's catching anywhere in a pan, and then you can just leave that somewhere warm. Take it off the heat and leave that somewhere warm till you're ready to use it. You can always bring it back to life again if you want to get it nice and piping hot by just putting it back on the stove. It's pretty robust sauce. Right, now this is going to be my brother-in-law Jack, the guy who brought me the duck. I made him do some work. You look at the jobs I made him do, the repetitive ones, but here he is making the dough for the pancakes. So it's just a 2-to-1 ratio there, so that was 2 cups of flour to 1 cup of boiling water. Again, all the quantities will be in the description there. So we're going to mix this together to make a dough. Using a spoon there because obviously at first it's going to be very hot, you've just added boiling water. But you can see there, he's got his hands in and he's just going to work that dough just till it gets to a really lovely shine. And now he's going to knead it on the work surface. So yeah, slightly floured. Just keep adding flour until it stops being sticky, as in when it's like really sticking to the work surface. You want it to be a nice shiny dough. It looks beautiful when he's finished it. You'll see what I mean by just keep adding the flour. Whilst we're watching Jack do this, I will ask you, as I always do, if you like my videos, please hit like. If you don't like them, you know, fair enough. And also hit subscribe. It's free for you. So just click that bell down at the bottom, hit subscribe. And I do 3 of these videos a week, so free for you, but really helps me. So that's the dough. Just let that relax for a little bit. It's not got any rising to do or anything like that. Don't forget there's no yeast in this. That literally was just flour and water, but we'll just leave it to find itself for a little bit. Let it completely cool down. And in the meantime, Jackie's now going to prep the veg for our duck and pancakes. So that's just simply cucumber and spring onion. And he's going to turn both of these into like thin matchsticks. So as we do with anything, we just start big and just keep reducing by half every time. So he's cutting these down lengthways. Turn it around on itself and then go again. So what he's just done there is made julienne, or just sticks. And then you'll see in a moment, excuse me, that he'll take then each of those sticks and chop each of those sticks in half. So it's just a really, really nice technique, a really nice controlled technique that he's using here, just to make sure that everything is done. If you try and cut all of these at the same time, you'll end up some of them slipping away. It's a little bit fiddly, so just take your time. Before you know it, you'll see how many of these sticks just half a cucumber makes. Nice knife technique Jack's using there. You see it's like it's very controlled. He's holding a piece of cucumber, just kind of sliding back on the knife. He's not letting anything run away. Lovely knife technique, Jack. Congratulations on that. So that's his cucumber swapped. Chopped. There you go. He gets a beer. And now the same again with the spring onion. So we literally just take the top off them. Any really soft bits of the end of the greener bits of spring onion, I would get rid of. Not those bits that you just saw him put to the top. They'll get chopped. But just again, you chop them in half. And then chop each of those halves again. It's a little bit fiddly, it's a bit meticulous, you have to keep doing it, but it doesn't take much to get a good yield, so yeah, there'll be plenty to go around for everybody. So lovely, nicely thin, matchstick style spring onions, along with the cucumber. Look at that, great work. There we go, here's the next job I made him do, the next arduous job. So we've taken the dough now, and just to make sure they've got equal pancakes, you just chop the dough in half, make 2, chop those halves in half again, make 4, same again, 8, 16, 32, so you're just making the same size balls as you go down. Just keep chopping each piece in half. Roll each of those pieces into a ball. And then each one of these balls is going to make one pancake. So it's an interesting technique, this, the way Jack does it, and it's really, really good. So first of all, we determined that at this point you'd want to put a little bit of oil on the surface as well. So you can see there Jack's putting oil on the surface, on the top of the pancake. Also put a little bit of oil on the surface that you're going to be rolling out on. Then you get another pancake and put it on top of that one. Push down. And then roll them together to the size of the pancake you want. And then after you've cooked them, they peel apart. So both Jack and I were looking at this thinking, like, is that really going to happen? Are they really going to peel apart? But they do. And it's certainly that oil that you've put between the two pancakes that's really going to help. So you see what Jack's doing here. He's just making sure that these pancakes are nice and disc-like. So unlike our pizza video where I rolled it out in one length, I'll put a link to that in a minute. Jack's just moving it from one side to the other so he can roll it out really evenly. And then into a little bit of oil in a pan on a low to medium heat. You do not want this to suddenly start cooking or frying away. You just need to make sure that you've got a little bit of colour on the outside. So probably leave it in there for maybe around about a minute. Loosen, just make sure it's not stuck to the edge of the pan. That's what Jack's doing there, just ensuring that it's not going to stick or burn. Check the colour on it, see if it needs any more time. And then turn it over. So you can see what that looks like. It looks like a pancake. Obviously, this isn't going to taste anything like what you would consider a pancake because it's not the same ingredients. This is just flour and water. Turn it over. And don't forget, there's two pancakes there on the side. Let them cool ever so slightly and just peel them apart. And I assure you, we did loads of these pancakes and they came apart beautifully. This one there, I noticed on the video, it almost looks like it hasn't come apart at the bottom, but it has. Trust me, these were perfect. Do that with all the rest of your pancakes. Keep them somewhere warm. Get them on the side, and that's your pancakes ready to go. This is the duck after 3 hours. So we carefully remove it. Let it cool ever so slightly, but we just want this to cool until it's at a temperature where we can handle it, so we don't want it to get cold. So I'll let it cool for about 10 minutes, and then just with a couple of forks, just start to pull away all of the meat. It just falls off the bone. You literally will just be left with the carcass and all this meat. So then just get the meat out, shred it on the side. This is super, super moist. The skin's all on there. Lovely and crispy. It's amazing. Now take a pancake. You can do any technique you like. This is mine. Pancake, some cucumber, some spring onion, some duck. Just for the purpose of this video, I will very carefully and very delicately drizzle a little bit of that dipping sauce on the top. But in reality, after I'd finished filming here, I was just dunking these into the dipping sauce, and they didn't look as beautiful as this one, but they tasted just as good. That's a duck and pancake. Peking duck, just like you would get from a Chinese, except I would say that these pancakes are way better because they just feel a bit more real, a bit more authentic. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope you liked it, and I hope you try it at home. And I'll see you on the next one.